Right, you are most welcome. Today is the Tuesday edition of the Kokoliriko show that is live here on West Nile Television. Thanks for joining this show. My name is Federick Dramadri. Today we have a couple of issues to discuss with you, but let me first welcome those who are watching us within Arua City and those within the neighboring districts of Arua. Terego, Maracha, Koboko, Yume, not forgetting those in Obongi and also Moyo. We thank you very, very much for always giving your time and also watching this television. But also, most importantly, trying to share with us what you you have in your minds, but also where you are watching us from is very, very important. Remember, this show is also live on YouTube channels and also Zuku, where we are live, and you can't be able to stream us from elsewhere and any part of this country. But also, even if you are not in this country, any part of the continent, you can still watch West Nile Television, where we bring you a lot of detailed stories on this show, and also bring you more of those programmings or events that are coming that you'll be able to be updated of. And also remember, those who are watching us from Adjumani, we are not forgetting you, but also those from Bakwat coming to Nebi, Zombo, we say thank you very, very much. And also our fans who are watching us from the northern part, I mean those from Mulango and the Cholisha regions, we say thank you very, very much. This is the only television that you'll be able to really get a glimpse of what has actually happened in the Western region, but also the entire Uganda, and looking at many other countries that are here in this continent, and you'll be able to really see that detailed. We'll be analyzing some of the issues that are happening down here. Before we go to the issues, I want to say thank you for joining us, and I've been joined by one and only, that is the AKA, that is Jalshiga, who is here. Jalshiga, you're most welcome. Now today I don't want to mention other names because you said you still want to grow more. So I want to just use that name, Jalshiga. Yes.
Thank you very much, Federick Dramadri, and all the viewers of West Nile TV. Once again, it is a pleasure to be here live on the Kokoliriko show. And today is the second edition, that is, it is a Tuesday. It is still part of the beginning of the week. And as I've said, Jalosiga, that name is a real big name. It's a blessing. Anyway, welcome and a lovely morning to all the people who are live on West Nile TV.
Okay, today is the 28th of November 2023, and we are just left with 2 days. As earlier on, I told you yesterday that these days are just like hours to go. Like when you reach midday, you'll always actually forget that the day is still remaining. You could do something, but you realize that many people now focus so much on to now doing different things, and they forget of their personal plans. And this keeps you busy. The month is ending within a week, and another month is starting within a week. So it's a weekday that will be having this transition scene. So that is one big thing we should be able to look at as persons of concern who want to really grow. And remember, in the list of issues that we'll be discussing, there is a lot that we have for you. Remember, yesterday the brigade commander that is for actually 4th division that is based in Gulu for northern Uganda, yesterday had an address, a very big one on the issues of security, where he tackled the issues of smuggling, illicit financial flows, but also issues to do with the Balalo issue, which is very, very tense in northern Uganda, and how far they have gone is the issue. Remember, there are issues to do with veterinary officers not having veterinary labs to do testing for these animals. Remember, according to Ministry of Health guidelines, if actual Ministry of Agriculture Animal Industries guidelines, you want to move animals from one place to another, you have to first of all test them of all these diseases. Talk about zoonotic and many other viral diseases that are very, very prominent, that could easily spread from one farm to the other before they are relocated or transferred to any other place. And that's where the hit snack for the Balalo relocation, transfer, evictions are, and so on. Maybe let's start from this before I move to other issues. Jalshiga, what do you make of this Balalo issue? Because we have seen a lot of dates postponed and so on. And the last has been the issue to do with, 25th, which was mentioned, and the Balalo herdsmen were actually begging government to actually extend this by 20 days because some of the animals tested positive of foot and mouth diseases.
Thank you once again, Federick. Yeah, things of Balalos, you know, it has been now, it has lasted for some months, as you have said it before. We saw this thing started way back around May this year, whereby the Balalos were given the opportunity to leave the place that is of northern Uganda. But as we all know, it is not a one-day event. They have their animals, the large crowds, they are there. They also have their families. So you can't say, oh, you can't give someone just a day or two to leave a place. So they were given, that is May, that thing failed. They extended it up to, is it something like September there or October?
Yes,
it also
September,
failed. Then, after that, they requested it was extended up to 3rd of November, but up to now, they are still within the place that is of northern Uganda. So we ask ourselves, what is happening? But we are seeing leaders from Asholi, they're also coming out to start blaming government that there might be some double game being played somewhere. That's why the Balalos are not leaving this side of, that is northern Uganda. But now with this last eviction date given, I'm also in support of them because it has been confirmed clearly their animals are not safe. They're suffering from the foot and mouth diseases, and we all know the impacts of those infections, both on human beings and even the animals themselves. So this time around, I agree with them, I agree with even with the authorities. Let them first allow the Balalos to stay. They'll be monitoring the progress of the disease. So even if they go back with those animals home, they're at high risk of transferring this foot and mouth disease to their home, that is where they are supposed to go. So giving them more time, it is allowed. The good thing they have requested for three weeks. So within that period, they'll be in position to check through how far the infections have gone, that is in the animals, whether it is spreading or it has slowed down, and that will give also opportunity for the health inspectors to that is inject the animals or to vaccinate the animals so that they're safe.
All right, this has actually exposed one of the biggest gaps that exist in local governments, talking about the laboratories that are not there, but also the vet officers only operating in the offices. They don't have labs where they are able to actually test these animals, and you'll get worried to hear that some of these outbreaks have not been actually realized because these people are not there on ground, and that is the reason why this extension has been granted. But also another issue that has stemmed out from this is government is not providing transport, and the farmers are actually supposed to be the ones providing transport to take their animals. And maybe, do you think this is feasible enough? Is this a serious move to evacuate these people from northern Uganda? Because really, if government is not providing transport, how will these people move? Okay,
yeah,
how will these people move? This is one thing I've failed to understand. Maybe you might have an opinion about this.
Thank you once again, Federick. Things of that is evicting the Balalos, it is not a one-day event, as I said earlier. It has been a progress, and it is the same government who came out with proposal of providing security for these Balalos who are going home because they have large crowds of animals. And also they proposed that they're going to provide them with transport means, meaning they budgeted for these people, for their transport, for their security, and for everything. So it is becoming like more of a blame game. This one is blaming the other one is blaming the others. So if you look critically now, even people of the northern Uganda, that they're beginning to lose the trust, they're beginning to lose their loyalty in the government because they feel like the government is not trying to do what best they can do. But if they can do that thing very fast, let them provide them the transport, even if it means transporting them bit by bit, not or maybe as one group, because you know one Balalo may have like around 200 cows or even more than. It requires them to go step by step. If you are to take them at once, how many vehicles are you going to use in transporting those people? That's the Balalos. So the government, if they have given them maybe a period of maybe, I think that we give them like 6 months, if possible, for them to leave the area of northern Uganda, not going at once. So within that period, they'll be in position to transfer them to their different places, to their different localities. And it will also help, that is in curbing the insecurity. When they're moving, maybe you may find there are some people who are not well dealt with, or who are not friendly with the Balalos. They end up, that is, wrestling or stealing away their animals, or that will be something which is not good. But the only thing, let the government find a way of transporting them bit by bit, that is group by groups. Because I think they know their numbers.
Yeah,
that
they know.
This team are in this area, this one at this area. Why can't they come up with an initiative that we are starting with maybe Amoro district? The Balalos in Amoro, we are giving you 1 month. You organize within this one month, we are transferring each and everyone. That will make things very simple, and it will help, that is to solve the issues of transport, not making the people to become hostile to the Balalos. We all know how it started. At first, they were living peacefully, but now, ever since the government came out openly to declare that the Balalos have to leave, we are seeing even the destructions being made. They were, that is, urged to make some fences. But if you look at some of the videos moving around, the people of people of northern Uganda, they've started even to spoil the fences that will create, that is the barbed wire fences, that will create more enmities between the people of northern Uganda and the Balalos. Yet we are under one country, we are under one government. Thank you.
Okay, if you look at Western region, there are 4 districts that have been already identified having the Balalo herdsmen already, and according to security, there are 4, and this starts from Ubongi, that has a good number of these Balalo herdsmen who have failed to even go when the deadlines were explained very well. And also you have the districts like Yumbe, Terego, and Madiokolo. These are the 4 districts that have been identified already having these Balalo herdsmen already in their vicinities, and that is for Western region. And according to the commander, this is not really a very big threat, but it is easier for them to really deal with the West Nile issue. But the biggest is what we have in the Lango and the Cholisha regions, that they're actually trying to strive further to ensure that they are also moved from the districts in northern Uganda. Let's take a break from here. We'll be actually coming back to discuss many more other issues from that address, and also many others that we have at hand that will be declared here later on. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Football, our boys, our style. Star Times UPL new season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish from Fukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL, our league. Go for it!
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Hi.
Right, we're back from that commercial break. We're discussing earlier on the issues of the victims, updates on the victims of the Balalu, and also the security coming out to talk about what they have so far done, and also what is actually making the victims very, very hard right now. And remember, this was given to the State Minister for Northern Uganda to be the passion champion in this campaign of evicting the Balalu, but also she is supposed to be guided by the 4th Division Commander, that is Brigadier, that we were talking about. And also many other issues have come out from this. Maybe how could this be solved? That's where we are coming from, and also we have given you a lot of issues around that, and also trying to see how best the situation can be resolved. And many more other issues came out from the address. Maybe we will not go much into the rest, but talking about the issues of smuggling and also armed robbery, that is so much witnessed in Western region, especially in the border districts, is one big other issue there that the brigade commander talked about. And you realize that there are so many guns that have been used for robbery, and most of these guns have been identified as illegal guns that have not been registered. Remember, there was a fingerprint kind of registration guns and so on here in Uganda and most parts of this district. And you realize that most of these guns may be coming from this conflict bordering countries which we have in West Nile. Talk about DRC and also South Sudan, where the regulation of use of guns is not really that like what we have in Uganda. So some of these guns are suspected to have been coming from those kinds, those ends, and that's where really security is actually calling a lot of vigilance from the people, and also teaming up with other agencies to really curtail some of these armed robberies and also the influx of illegal guns in the region. Maybe, do you have anything to say on this? Let me just hear from you.
Okay.
Yes.
Federick, thank you once again. Things of that is illegal, that is having illegal firearms in West Nile, it is becoming, it has been there. And the security, however much they have tried, that is in curbing people holding or staying with illegal firearms. We're talking about guns, though we are having the acts in Uganda, but still you fail to understand where are these guns coming from. And as you have said it clearly, maybe it is big effects of those neighboring countries which doesn't have that so much restrictions. They may be having the restrictions, but one major thing which is affecting them is that is in the insecurity, the insurgency, which are very rampant in those cases, in those countries. Even if you can see very well, there are some Ugandans who are that side, who are hiding, and you ask yourself, where have they gotten these guns from? There are a lot of things we have been seeing, that is army men being attacked, the officers, the police being attacked. So those are the places whereby the gangmen are in position to get those guns. But the armies themselves are trying to fight against the illegal arms, and things are not working. Though things are working, maybe let them also come up with that operation whereby they are doing it in the side of Karamoja sub-region, whereby they're coming up with an initiative of voluntary, that is handling, it's called voluntary surrendering of firearms. Maybe let them try that system in West Nile. I don't know if it can work, but also let them try that initiative, because we have seen it working that side of Karamoja sub-region, whereby some people are willing to give their firearms. We saw also in West Nile, I think this thing, they tried it in
Koboko and Maracha.
Yeah, they tried that thing in Koboko, whereby some people, at least they got, is it 1 or 2, who managed to surrender their guns, that is voluntarily. So that is one of the things. The moment you handle people in a nice way, in a polite way, you engage them, you don't use much force. People are willing, people are ready to learn, people are ready to hand these guns, because we know, I may be having the guns and not using it maybe for other issues, but the moment I stay with it, or the longer I stay with it, I may be tempted to use it for other purposes, but if you come out as authority to sensitize people on the use of guns or the acts that is concerning the firearms, it will help to curb the insecurity which is affecting Western sub-region so much. We have been seeing a lot of robberies happening, the firearms, people being robbed with guns, and if you trace back, you find it is mostly attached to the registered guns. And we ask ourselves, how are people getting access to some of these guns? These are the major things whereby people need to be sensitized, people need to be engaged, so that these things of insecurity and armed robbery can at least reduce in the Western sub-region and the northern Uganda at large. Thank you.
Okay, on the issues of rampant killings, also encounters with the civilians, the business persons, with URA, actually, there's a solution already derived. One, the issues to do with those kind of scaffolds. Once an officer is found guilty of releasing a bullet, and which is not called for, especially that one that happened in the hospital, he said drastic measures will be taken, and this officer has to face the law, because really from hospital you are not supposed to release bullets. And also talking about those incidences where somebody was shot incidentally when he was not the target, the person who shot him or her should really face the law. Those are things that he was able to update. But let's move away from that. We are moving to the 16 days of activism, and today is actually the day 3. The day 3 of the 16 days. We are counting down, and we have seen yesterday activists in Kampala trying to ask government to increase funding for gender-based violence issues. And this is actually coming out from the issues to do with people registering case files, and also some people being forced to pay for medical examinations. Okay, this is maybe a case of assault, a case of maybe where somebody was defiled and so on. You have to pay for some of these files or forms to be filled and so on. That is one thing that activists are actually trying to champion. But also we show the category of albinism, where people are saying, no, we need another law really to make us safe. Maybe have they find it difficult to live here? We have seen in some parts of Africa and also some parts of the world, albinism is totally not allowed. But in Uganda, we have seen these people at least living in a harmonious way with many of us who are not really in that category. I don't know if they are also facing stigma or maybe discrimination from other parts of this country. But I've not seen that happening. Maybe why they are demanding for a new law is another issue that we should be able to interest ourselves into. Maybe from all these two, these are all tailored towards the 16 days of activism against violence, GBV and so on, many other things. What do you make of the two? Yes.
Things of albinism, when it first came, when it first surfaced in this country, it was more of a surprise, it was more of a shock. I remember also in our village, you find the mother is an African, the father is an African, but the end product, the child coming up, is more of a white, is more of a foreigner. So people even used to ask themselves, between these two, who cheated? Did the woman cheated with the white, or what could have possibly happened? So
sure.
People used to face these things of, that is, being segregated so much. People, we used to ask ourselves, what could have happened, and where did this white come from? But they're telling us it is an African child. So those days way back, it used to happen, but right now, at least people are used that there are a group of people called albinos. The albinism is now among us. It's now a normal thing. It is no longer. They are not facing that so much segregation as it used to be, or finger pointing at them. They cannot even associate with people very well, and we know how to accommodate them. We know they are more of a special needs, but in the country, they're not considered as being people with disability because they have failed to trace what kind of disability are they having. And even if you ask me right now, what kind of disability can we classify the albinos, I can't tell. It's just the skin color which has changed, but other things, they're just normal. Only that they need some special attachments, they need some special treatments, because we know they can't live like these other human beings. Let me call them like the other ordinary human beings or the normal human beings, though they're also normal. Yeah, because if you look at their skin, you can't, that is, give them so much hard work because their melanin is not like this real one of ours. The only challenge is the melanin because a natural human being, you are supposed to have this outer cover, but for them it is not there. That's why we say most of the times when maybe the temperature is all that hot, their skin tends to be affected so much, but themselves, they consider themselves also being as a special needs. And also I will encourage the government or the authorities to at least come out with some acts that protect them, that guides them.
But already we have an act.
Yeah, the act is there.
Maybe they want an amendment.
No, the act is there, right? But for them, they feel like it is not being popularized all that much. Or it is there, but the government is not implementing it to the fullest, like how they expect. Remember, they came out with that is one proposal. They needed their representative right on the floor of the parliament, someone who understands how they feel, how albinism life is all about. So those are kind of the things they're trying to follow up. The act is there, but for them, they feel like it has not reached to the extent that they feel it should be, to the percentages they want. Yes.
Okay. That is it, and maybe we will not talk much about 16 days of activism. We exhausted this yesterday, so long. And moving to production. Now the issue here is about tea farmers actually in the Kanungu district, okay? This is where one big passion in the cabinet comes from. They have decided to start uprooting all the teas, okay, that they had planted because the factory that was established worth 2.8 billion Ugandan shillings has not been able to really help them so much. And they have actually highlighted that the cost of production is actually more expensive than the returns they have. And if you look at now the tea on the market, 1 kilogram of tea that is bought from these people is actually at 200 shillings. And if you look at the expenses that they are talking about, if you have the placards, the people who are weeding it, the people who are carrying it and so on to the factory, they charge you up to 130 shillings per kilogram. So that means you have 170 shillings that is kept for yourself. And if you look at all those deductions, maybe you use people to dig the land and so on, lastly you will be left with actual nothing. So people are saying there's nothing they're actually getting from the tea, and maybe government need to give them a different alternative crop to really deal in. So maybe let me hear from Jalusiga. What do you make of this? Maybe you have invested a lot, but the returns are very, very low. It's like the factories are actually the ones getting more money than you, getting more because they add value. And if you look at the packet of tea that is actually sold at 100 shillings, it doesn't reach even a gram. A gram. It is less than so what does that mean to maybe somebody who is giving 1 kilogram at 200 shillings? You see that?
Yeah, thank you very much, Federick, once again. You know, at times that's why they say growing of cash crops is a lucrative avenue, but at times it's also very risky. You know, imagine you have taken your time, you have invested your capital that is in tea growing, but at the end you're uprooting. You're not even uprooting, you are destroying your tea garden.
That is a protest, I tell you.
Yeah, it is more of a protest, but now, who is feeling the repercussions so much? It is you, the farmer, who invested. Imagine hiring people to go and dig your garden, use all this and this, your time, and so much more. So at the end, it will leave you, that is, with a lot of losses as being a farmer. That's why we saw that is the head of the state, that is His Excellency, the President of Uganda, is trying to discourage people from involving themselves so much into the issues of that is cash crop. That's why
those traditional cash crops.
The traditional cash crops, the coffee, the cotton, because now
tobacco and so on.
Yeah, because the moment the prices fluctuates, you may be targeting that is a price of maybe 2,000 per kilo, but from nowhere you find other things have happened. The price have dropped to 500. What do you expect? there's nothing you can do. You can't even destroy, like how those friends of ours are doing. You have to bear this situation. So in case you have invested maybe in cassava, even if the price falls to 1 shilling, you don't mind. You keep it. You keep it for yourself because you know how cassava can accommodate. It can help a lot. That is the advantage of getting yourself engaged. That is in food crop production, and that is one thing which the country we are trying to balance it up. Most of these things are going off. Most of the traditional cash crops that are going out. One thing, even if you go to that is the district or Zombo, where they used to grow large pieces of coffee, right now the percentage is dropping. It is not like how it used to be. Maybe if someone is having 4 acres, those days you find at least like 3 acres is being used or are being used.
Is the tea production at Zongo still there? I was hearing a lot of songs about the factory.
Yeah, it is there, but not all that much. Most of the people that are trying to get themselves engaged in food crop production. That's why you are seeing bananas, you are seeing Irish, and these even cassavas this time they're coming from Zombo. And that's why if you try doing research, people of Zombo are boasting that they are the food basket for West Nile. Why? Because now they have shifted from production of cash crops to that is food production of food crops. So that those people who are protesting, I will advise them, let them persevere, because the more you destroy them or you uproot them, it will leave you at big losses. Let them just
maybe,
tell them. And then
yes. If you are protesting, make sure that you harvest all of it and take to the factory. Then you leave the land, because already you can start doing other crops. Maybe you can dive into other cereals, or maybe other crops. Talk about maybe coffee, which is somehow now good. A kilogram can now fetch you more than 1,000. Yeah, it's a very lucrative business now that government is actually trying to prioritize, because coffee is actually the second biggest income earner for the country now. The likes of tea and tobacco are now down there. You cannot even check. You cannot even now focus on what it is there on the world market. So people need to move away from these traditional cash crops, talk about tobacco, talk about tea, and also cotton, because really the pamba, people are tired of it. And we have seen dinner is idle here in the Rhino Camp. So that means there's a lot that people are actually trying to learn from these cash crops, and also trying to see how they can be able to get something for their families and so on. But also destroying them is a sign of telling government that really, since you established for us the factory here, we have not actually benefited from it. I'm sure that is after a very big number of calls to government to revive the market price. Okay, there were calls about tea also not being expensive, but also the cost of incurred during production is one big issue. If you are incurring a cost of up to 130 and yet you have just a benefit of 70, that means you are not really doing enough, because you have human family labor which you have not even catered for. What you are talking about is what you are actually doing from the skilled labor. So that is one big other issue. We really need to look at if we want to help our people in this country to move further. Remember the issues of the driver who caused the accident in Arua here during the URA enforcement has been taken to another step, where he has actually been committed to court for reckless driving, and also on 3 accounts. One is reckless driving, 2 is driving a vehicle of dangerous mechanical condition, but also the third one is claiming actual facilitating or aiding the death of that woman, and those are the issues that have been put before that driver, and that is a very critical issue that is happening in Uganda. Remember, we have seen so many vehicles driven, even others cannot stop at one point. Once you put your hand, they cannot break there. That's one sign that they are on really bad condition. We have seen others moving with a lot of smoke as if they are cooking, using maybe plastics and so on, and you wonder what is happening on Ugandan roads sometimes. And you see the traffic officers putting their hand as if they are checking whether the condition is good, but at some point you see the same vehicle moving with passengers. That's one big issue there we really need to look at seriously when we are especially on the roads, but also looking at how you are supposed to use the road. We have seen people braking abruptly. You stop just abruptly on the road. You don't even put signs whether the vehicle is having a problem or not. You just don't care. What you know is you have stopped. So that's one thing that can lead to a lot of accidents on these roads. So we need to look at those issues and make sure that we are able to adjust. And also one brief adjustment, maybe news I can put for you is the issues of the High Court judge who was also accused of bribe has been interdicted. That's one big other issue that is happening in Uganda. Let's take a break from here. We'll be coming back with other issues later on. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Football, our boys, our style. Star Times UPL new season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish for Mr. Fukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL, our league. Go for it.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, we're back from that commercial break. Earlier on, we are highlighting on you, with you actually some issues that are happening in Uganda. Remember, there are so many, and we may not really deliver all of them. But we need to also look at what is happening in East Africa and also the African community at large, and we will also move into other issues that are happening in other parts of the country or in the continents. We have so many continents already now.
There are very many.
There's another good news for East African community where we have a baby.
A newly-born baby.
All right, dear viewers, we have a newborn that was on the Friday, okay? The East African community now has 8 member states where we have Somalia being incorporated into East African community official. This was unveiled on Friday, and many other issues already coming in. People are saying, hey, are we not bringing the Al-Shabaab back into East African community? And the others saying that it was Kenya and Uganda who were so strong in fighting the Al-Shabaab in Somalia. And That's what the president of Somalia is saying. He said actually his country coming into East African community is a blessing. Actually, he calls it a long-lasting opportunity that he will be actually enjoying the peace and also the free trade. Remember, East African community has that treaty signed that all the member states are supposed to have a free trade zone operating, and also the custom regulations have to be abandoned for the member states, where you can now move with your goat to Somalia, you sell it there, maybe it's a bit higher price, you come back, you can even come and stay in Kenya. Before you come to Arua here, you first look at what is happening there in the port and so on. Then you come back to Arua here and stay here in the best beach you want. Okay, that is one thing which has come in, and also now this has made the member states to grow up to 8, and this includes Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, and South Sudan. You have Democratic Republic of Congo, and now Somalia that we have, that is the Republic of yes, Somalia. That is what we have now. And the new president for East African Community is the president of the Republic of South Sudan. You all know who he is, a very controversial man. And a lot of issues are happening now, and the preparations are on high gear to make sure that these new member states are fully incorporated and also they enjoy the benefits that we have. Remember, we have now 300 million opportunities, okay? 300 million people who are the market targeted for East African community. And we have vast land that is worth 304 square kilometers, that is excluding Somalia. Now we have Somalia that has a very big chunk of land that is yet to be tabulated, and according to the heads of states, this is another opportunity to have the community expanded. Remember, if you are very big in numbers, you have the choice of what to do, and also you have big many heads working together. The community is able to expand so fast. The issues of market, the issues of bargaining power begins to swell. Remember, the ECOWAS has been one of the biggest that has been dominating, especially the West African member states. They have numbers. They are able to, at least when in the African AU Parliament, they can easily suggest something for themselves. Remember the issues of AFCON and so on. They have been hosting them because they have numbers, they have facilities. Now we have at least a bigger number. I hope we'll be able to actually have a big audience or representation in the East African Union, and also East Africa will be able to have that. We have seen other countries already also asking permission to come in. We have Ethiopia and Eritrea that are already trying to force their way in, and they are waiting a few clearances. Maybe what do you make of this newborn that we have?
Thank you. It's not something new. Federick, if I may say, it is not something new. It has been there cooking. I will give a simple example. It is like a man getting married to a second wife. The man has been staying with the wife somewhere illegally. Mine has now the first wife knowing, because if you look at Somalia, if you look at Ethiopia, Eritrea, though they were not under East African community, but they were getting some benefits from the East African community. Look at in terms of security. Uganda have been supplying a lot of, that is, soldiers or army to Somalia, which has been helping them to fight against the terror attacks. We are talking about the Al-Shabaab, the Al-Qaedas, and all those people. They have been there. That is, and even right now we are talking about the Amazon that is in Somalia, whereby UPDF. If you look at the general population of people fighting against the Al-Shabaab or the other terror attacks in Somalia, you find Uganda is having a lot of its men, that is the gunmen, that side of Somalia. So coming to the East African community, it is now more of official. They have been joined up together, they have teamed up together with the other East African community, because when you are not yet part of the community, others will be looking at you that, why are these people extending too much support to this other side of the
actually
country?
They're supposed to pay for some of these services.
Yeah, when they're not part of us. So that is one thing, as you have highlighted, it will give them a lot of freedom to associate now with the other East African community. We are talking about Uganda, we're talking about the other Tanzania. Let me say the traditional East African community. They have been there. And most of these people, they are good when it comes to trade. And some of these countries, they're yet coming up in terms of trade. So teaming up together or integrating as one community, you will be in position to trade freely, and that will automatically help to improve on the economy of one country, not necessarily maybe Somalia or Uganda or Tanzania. They will be in position also to upgrade. We know if you are now under one community, we have education sectors whereby one country may be having a better education service. And since you are now under one team, you'll be in position to access them without so much restriction. Thank you.
Okay, now if you look at the publications on the official website of the East African community, there are a lot of congratulatory messages said by different heads of states, and also they have actually said the GDP, the gross domestic tax that has grown, actually products that have grown now is at 306 million, actually billion shillings that we can talk about. And that is one big issue there that is really considered in terms of trade facilitation and also those other incentives that are always there for the East African member states. And maybe let's talk about the issues of trade, especially talk about the products each country is actually trying to come up with. We have seen wheat coming from Kenya. We have seen Uganda exporting coffee. We have seen many other countries coming with rice and so on. How do you think this will be actually helping us in solving some of the issues to do with food shortage, but also issues of making sure that our farmers are able to get the benefits of the open market that we have?
Thank you once again, Federick. As I said, integration doesn't move maybe one way. It is a two-way advantage whereby this country will benefit from the other will also be in position to benefit from the others. Now, maybe before we proceed to the trade department or the trade sector, one major issue, according to me, is the currency, Federick. If you look at the value of currency within the East African community, you find this one is having maybe a currency which is having a low value. You may be saying like maybe one Kenyan shillings. If you compare it to Uganda shillings, how much are you going to convert? To find it more
in terms of value, I think
in terms of the weight, you may find
we're still crawling.
Yeah, we are crawling behind.
Yes,
you're comparing the value of Uganda shillings with the Somalian currency they're using. Also, you find there's some big difference in those currencies, and maybe before them engaging themselves so much into the business sector, why can't they first sit down and harmonize? At least let them balance it, let them improve on the inequalities in the currency between the East African community, because they are now one. Remember when they met some times back, they came up with the proposal of coming up with one currency for the whole East African region. And up now, I'm still wondering what happened to the proposal. Has it faded off, or it is still on?
No, I can give you the update right now. Actually, by December 15th, that was the deadline that was actually set to ensure that they harmonize the issues to do with the symbols used in the currencies, but also looking at many other issues to do with what kind of things need to be there on the currency, but also what are the writings that we need for the East African community
for the
currency? Okay, those are things that have been under scrutiny, and also many others that have been there. So we expect by around 15th of December, the common decision will be taken. So that will be addressing the issues of differences in the value of money, and also many other issues to do with the imbalances that you are talking about.
Maybe now getting back.
Your issue is being sorted.
Yeah, thank you very much for clarifying. Getting back to the business perspective, as I've said, you know, we are going to exchange, that is, products from one country to another, whereby you find Uganda maybe specializing in coffee, tobacco, but you name them. They'll be specifying those ones. We see wheats coming from the other side, we see maybe Simpson coming from the other side. It will help a lot, that is, in fighting, because Uganda may be producing excess of coffee, but the other countries will want to be in position, that is, of having
produce,
it.
yes.
And
even a mere drinking, they may not have.
They may not be having, and we have been seeing, when it comes to, that is, milk, it is mostly Uganda who are, or which is supplying these
Kenya,
other parts
yes,
of the East Africa. So it is Kenya, though there are some quality assurance, those things, they're there, but coming up together, they are going to work on those things, maybe having the experts, that is, from the other sides. And one major advantage is the farmers will be in position to go and see, to tour around, to see how things are done in other parts of the country, and probably how can you also interject and how can we bring those things in our own country. Like we're talking about wheats, we don't have, that is, maybe we have the land, but it's the knowledge which is lacking. So
maybe the crop is not doing well here in Uganda.
And maybe one last thing we are seeing, that is unemployment affecting people so much. Maybe in Uganda, we have the jobs, but I feel like they're not favoring me. I can't do them. So someone from maybe the other side of the East African community, be it from Rwanda or from Kenya, will be interested in coming to Uganda, and the person will be in position to come and do what I failed to do, and I'll also be in position to go the other side, and things will mix up together. Also intermarriages. Hey, those things will also
very important.
That is very important. So it will also help. That is in bringing unity. You know, once someone from the other side have come to Uganda, automatically it creates a long-lasting.
Once you have in-laws the other side, there's no war.
Yeah, by the way, that thing will help. That is in bringing unity and peace.
Yeah,
now, how can I fight against part of my family?
Yeah, true.
Because they're claiming maybe rebels are from Rwanda attacking Uganda, from Uganda attacking Congo, from there. Now, in-laws, mostly it is very hard for them to fight because now they're under one community.
All right, we have big developments. We have seen many countries already having minerals, others having oil and so on, gas. And the only route we have is shipping some of these products. You will see that the ports are in some of the selected countries in the African community. So many of these countries will be able to have that opportunity of shipping their items and also exporting them out. For us to export, we have to first take to Kenya or Tanzania. So that's one big issue that even the likes of Somalia, the likes of Rwanda will be able to benefit from. And that's a very good initiative of having a joint effort, also having, maybe if I'm benefiting from you through the port, why is it that I should be able to charge you so much on my coffee, my milk, my wheat, and also the sugar I'm manufacturing? So that is another thing where countries will be able to at least coexist, also be able to help one another in terms of exporting their raw materials or even finished products. Okay, there are other corners of this continent, or maybe outside African continent, where most of our products are needed. Even China, you saw recently, the people from China were saying, hey, they have just tasted in Senene. They love to eat it more. You saw those dramas. Somebody was making jokes that maybe will they not bite their nose and so on.
No, we have to export for them.
Yeah, so that's one big thing we have. And as Africa, we have all those things, those good foods, and that we will really need to export. You see them also chasing turtles and also snakes here. The Chinese.
That would be a source of another good business.
Export. We are a very good one. So we have a lot of snakes that we can export. They eat and so on. They give us money.
But don't you think we're going to spoil, that is, the creation? If you get too much active into hunting those things, you're killing the snakes, the tortoise. Now we are also trying to devastate. That is the tourist attraction in the country.
No, what we need to do is keep the forest there because the snakes will always be there in the forest. Let's avoid bush burning, and I know the dry season is coming soon. If we want the snakes to have more sex and also multiply, okay, that is what we can always do. There's no food we can provide for the snakes. It's only we maintain the green pasture. That is all. They will always feed on the insects, they will feed on any other things and so on. But when these Chinese come around, we should be able to market a lot of these snakes that we have, because they have proved that is their nutritious food that they can always feed you.
But I don't think all kinds of snakes can be eaten.
Sure.
It's the same like birds. we have birds around. We have the animals. There are some species which are eaten while others are not consumed. Maybe first we have to come up with an agreement with them. They give us the types which are favorable, which are more delicious for them. Then we cherish those ones to say, you people, at least let's reserve these types, but let's don't have them so much, so that they can bring for us more income. That will be something so good.
Okay, that is the beauty of East African community, but most importantly, the Pearl of Africa, that is Uganda, has most of these kind of things that we always enjoy. And also, if the sweetest you will always have is in West Nile. By the way, we have so many of these things that we have here, and most of our these forest reserves we have, and also swamps we have, they have a lot of those kind of things that you always desire to have. And also many of the historical sites that you want to see, you always have them here in Western region. But also we have the biggest mountains and also the lakes that we have in this country. They have very, very attractive sceneries here that we will always see. And that's why we are called the Pearl of Africa. Wherever you go, you come to African continent, you always want to first reach Uganda and see what is beautiful there. You have the crested cranes that are there, well decorated, not even using the paints, but they have the natural colors. And if you have never seen any egg of those birds, you always see them here in Uganda. And what type of food they feed on, and also what makes them look unique and have those kind of unique colors, is what you'll be able to learn here in Uganda. And many of our animals we have, they are always there. And many other things that you always enjoy in East Africa. That is why many countries want to really come to East African community. And also, we now preach that since we're exporting security, okay, that's one big tool that we have in Uganda and also East Africa generally. We need to now look at how we should be able to avoid these minor insects that are trying to come into sting our nests, okay, the younger ones we have. I am talking about the rebel groupings that we have in East African community that are actually trying to paint the bad picture of what the community looks like. That's one big thing we need to look at. And now that we have a chairman who comes from a rebel disturbing country, we hope that he will share a lot of experiences on really how he has felt bad dealing with them, and also how we should be able to tackle the issues of rebel attacks, and also some countries harboring rebels in the East African community, so that we have at least a continent, or maybe a community that is treasured by all. And I saw a video circulating where I don't know where people got the technology from, where people, some people were collecting mosquitoes and making food out of mosquitoes.
You know, we are.
And they said for you to make they call them, is it boluses? Those balls you roll, and also
mostly you make the white ants and
like those white lands. There are 5,000 mosquitoes that you have to harvest to make that. And they said because the mosquitoes, they also consume human blood, they are more nutritious than even the white ants that we are talking about. So That's one thing, and I think people who are so much into food ingredients and so on should really dive into that and bring us more detailed analysis, because that I didn't trust the source of the analysis that was done. Because now,
those are investigative
in your room, how many mosquitoes do you have? Maybe will you go to the forest or swamps where you will be able to harvest these? And that's one thing.
You know mosquitoes, you can breed them. We know the source. You know how to breed mosquitoes. Maybe
let's get a container with the water.
But you don't put it near the homestead. You first take it aside some distance away.
But will they reach 5,000 soon?
Yes, they will reach, because now the more you give them the ample time, the more they're not disturbed. They will feel at home. They will feel they are peaceful. So you'll be in position to collect. That is the thousands.
I saw people harvesting a lot of mosquitoes in the forest, but I don't know whether they were not biting them. But that's one thing. We'll leave it there. And still in East Africa, Kenya is actually facing a lot of distractions by this talk about the disaster, talk about the river floods, which has actually caused a lot of deaths. Yesterday we saw on X the president actually putting it, Ruto actually tweeting that at least 70 people have been confirmed dead, and also 36,169 people have been really said to be the people whose houses have been affected and also have been really pushed away from their homes. This is one issue that we have been talking about. The impact of interfering with the nature is another big issue that has actually caused a lot of people being pushed away from their homes, and also many are really facing the challenges coming with the changes with weather pattern. Maybe, what do you make of this? Rivers are banking their sources, and also flooding is seen everywhere. We have seen, maybe for Uganda's case this year, it has at least
it has been dropped. It is not all
maybe because our president has been so much preaching the issues of environmental protection and trying to make sure that the UPDF is in the forefront.
Yeah,
many times people fear the UPDF so much.
Maybe also
you saw during lockdown, maybe also people were running so much.
I think also the floodings are fearing the guns. They are fearing the UPDF soldiers being put there. But
that is not the case. But Uganda's ways of tackling issues is sometimes different.
Now the fact is, as they have said, you know, some of the Ugandans, the nationals, they need a lot of forces to be put in place. we don't fear the armies, but we respect them. We combine both the respect and the fear together. If you can remember, if you can remember very well, people of Bududa, that used to be the most hot spot as far as that is things of flooding in the country Uganda is concerned. But they were first pushed away, they will come back, pushed away, come back. Now the president said, no way. If these people are behaving in this way, why can't we look for other avenues of transferring them from this place? So that risky places have been taken, the people have been shifted. At least, you know, they were convinced that at least you first go somewhere while you are monitoring how the condition is going to stabilize. So that's why some of the cases that is for floodings in Uganda have gone down. But that one of Kenya, it is so rampant, and as you have said, they're tampering with the nature, but also we have failed to understand why is it happening here and there. It's not only in the village, at least for Uganda. We are seeing it happening in the rural areas, but that one of Kenya, even urban centers, even the town places are being affected. But some people are now attaching it maybe to the poor planning, to the infrastructure development. Because if you look at some of the towns that were built is it in a swamp or on a swamp? They're in swamp. They're in a swampy places. That is one thing which is so much. You are doing a construction with the bricks. You're not. You know, as Africans, we don't have that too much technology of the whites building their own things. That is in the seas or in the lakes or there and there. But in Africa, there are some technologies which are still lacking, and we know how powerful what can be. That is one thing. Where else are they going to run? Where are they going to hide? Also, we are seeing that is the economy of Kenya is not all that good, and coupling up with the flooding, it becomes so hard for the people that is of Kenya and the government at large to try and balance things up as far as things of floodings are concerned. But also, if the government of Kenya can come up with an initiative of sensitizing people, of applying the technology or the knowledge being used by the Ugandan government in order to cover, that is the situation of the flooding in the Kenyan sub-region, it will be so good. And we all know the implications, the negative implications or the repercussions of floodings. For it doesn't maybe destroy things of maybe one family or two families, but it is massive. It is a massive destruction. So let them look for ways of transferring people before it gets out of hand. And that is one thing which the government will need. And if they delay, it will call for more, that is urgency, to come in place, of which the economy right now worldwide, you can't rely so much on donors. Right. What they have to do, let them transfer those people at least to safer places. Thank you. All right, that is it. I think Kenya can buy a leaf from Uganda in terms of really trying to respond to disaster. Uganda has actually put a budget, a lot of budget, millions, billions and so on, in terms of fighting disaster. And this time, we've seen showman messages being disseminated at least in every month, what the weather will look like, which regions measures are going to be affected. We have seen early warning strategies being laid, and also dissemination of those kind of strategies has actually helped Uganda so much. Not that people have been so much pushed by UPDF, but the issue is message, packaging the message in both the local languages and also the formal official language, that is English, has actually helped Uganda to move far. But also the president coming out to really condemn the destructions or the misuse of mismanagement of environment, and also wetlands, swamps, constructions, and also the laws that we have actually helped so much into this. And this is one thing any other government can actually learn from Uganda. This can only be done when we are devoted, when we have the resources allocated timely, and also when we have structures up to grassroots where we're able to actually do a lot. Remember, West Nile TV did this as part of the show here, that is Kokoliriko, where we're able to bring experts actually to explain what actually a disaster looks like, and also what people need to do in terms of responding, but also before responding, what is it that we can do before anything occurs. Those are things we need to package as governments. We need to look at that. The priority of the people is in our hands, okay? When we want to develop a nation, we have always known Kenya of being one of the cleanest cities, having cleanest cities, towns, and urban setting. In terms of planning, they are actually superb. Looking at their planning systems, and also if you look at their towns, very, very organized compared to Uganda. Go to Kampala now. You get confused. Even there are so many streets, and some of them end at people's doors and so on. You even get lost. You may say they have the best urban planning, but we all know nature has its own course. You may plan very well, but when the time for disaster comes, even how it is called natural disasters. So for them, you can avoid them and you can't avoid them. Uganda, we are not experiencing so much of those things because we have the best urban planners in the country, Uganda. That's why most of those disasters, though they're coming, they're maybe as a result of river bursting its banks, and we have not seen it so much in town. So in Uganda, we have the best urban planners.
So we need to make use of our rivers, our swamps, okay? We've seen many countries trying to generate electricity power or electric power from this kind of rivers that we think can at least, and in any way, maybe result into some of these calamities. We make use of them for other things, thermal energy and so on. Many of those things, hydro and so on, that you can always get from those kind of sources. So when you make use of that kind of water in that way, you will realize that it will not have access to move out. because it will always be like being used, and also dams are constructed. You see those kind of things. It helps in irrigation and many of those things. So it will not have access to move inland and so on. You see those kind of things. But now it helps a lot in that. But do you have the technology? Do you have the equipment? Do you have the knowledge of doing that? You can benchmark in other countries that are already doing it. We have seen Uganda trying to expand, also even export now electricity to Central African Republic and also South Sudan, where we have seen poles moving, pylons moving out and so on. This is the beauty of using the natural resources. Talk about water, the large volumes of water being used efficiently. Let's take a break from here. We're actually going to come back with many other issues that happen in Africa, but also away from Africa. There's something very, very good that is actually happening in Australia that we're also talking about here. Let's take a break from here. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Football, our boys, our style. Star Times UPL new season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish from Fukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL, our league. Go for it.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Let's come back from that commercial break. I know you have enjoyed the show from the start. We are actually going to have the news in Lombardy up next. That will be brought to you by Fete Emmanuel. And the team is there, very, very ready, actually waiting to come in very soon. And we want it not just come like an abrupt thing, but this has been one of the routine programming. Remember, the news in the local languages are already two. We have the Aluru news that is brought to you by Peace Your Shack, that is AKA. AKA, I think Jalsiga now. I see that. You see how news is making you really prominent here.
Thank you very much. Federick, things of news, leave news alone.
Hey.
Hi.
What are the top stories today? Maybe that's how that.
There are very many. We don't want to shift into them.
Okay.
Maybe we.
But we may be waiting.
No,
what is popping here?
We are going to give them at the end of the show. That is the Kokoliriko.
By the way, you will see the same face at around midday. So he'll be bringing that news in Alur.
But a different smile.
Yeah.
Not the same smile.
You know. Okay, very interesting thing that is happening in Uganda. The potholes are becoming tourist attraction centers, not only in Kampala but also in Western region. Remember the issues of people were pushing a car that was in Terego, but it turned to be like something like a bull that has fallen down. You see, somebody had to create something, and you know, Ugandans are very funny. They decided to make a cartoon of the car, and the people who were pushing it, it was like an elephant that has fallen down, and people were pushing it. And this is on a highway. This is an Unra road that leads to Yumbe district from Terego district. So that is one big thing where we have seen tourists already coming. If you go to Delmont and now you'll see those photos there, and we don't want to really say so much about it. We have seen the magnitude of the issues of roads not really being in good condition, but also we have seen so many being tried to be done, but they have not been having impact. Maybe.
Federick, you know,
yes, you're also using these roads. Maybe.
We're talking about potholes that is in the country Uganda. As we have stated it clearly, it is not only those sides maybe of the city, but also if you come to the West Nile sub-region, the roads are very impassable. Take a look just from here. Maybe when you're going to along that Pakwash-Nebi highway, you find one half of a road, that is the left-hand side, is off totally. So what will the driver do? The driver will first go and use the other side of the road, will turn right, and leaving all these spaces empty. You know, instead of using left, he will turn the other side. There was a day I was surprised. We are traveling. The driver had to go all to the right. The other one was coming. What do? The other one has to use this other side, the right-hand side. I was like, you people, what's happening in this country? Because, and that one put people at a very high risk.
There was a time I was tempted to ask whether we're in DRC or we're in Uganda, because now, if you were using the left-hand side, actually the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side, that means you have actually violated the traffic rules.
Yeah,
you are supposed to be taken to jail, but now how do they jail you when you don't even have?
You have abused, or you are not following the right. So but now the major issue is if possible, let's change the name from highway to a rotating way, because you're not going one way. You turn left. You drive somewhere, you find the road is impassable, you have to go right. So that is one thing which is affecting people, mostly during rainy season, as I've said. There are a lot of things happening here and there. And the cost, we are seeing that thing impacting so much on the cost of transport. People are being charged highly because they're moving slowly, and the drivers will feel like you're taking much of their time. All you have to do, let's harmonize, let's work on the road so that we make things simple, we make it clear. Someone was asking me, we always say, Arua is a city. Is this the road to the city? I said, yes, this is the best road to the regional city of West Nile. So those are some of the things. As
the district chairman of Arua district actually prefers to describe this road as the best massaging road that we have in this country.
It helps you in exercise.
It is best for family planning. Because once you are coming from Pakwach and you have arrived at Arua, once you reach home, when even the wife is there,
you're more than exhausted.
Like, I'm not. My back is paining, so I will not do that work. Please excuse me.
So you look for excuse because of the road. So that's why you are saying.
I don't know. It is also good to reduce population.
How can you reduce population? What about people who are single? Okay, if you're talking about that is depopulation, what is the impact on the pregnant mothers who are looking for those services? You know how special they are. They don't need these things of bouncing. At least the road needs to be smooth. And if those are the kind of roads, it will lead to probably something else. You may find
true.
Something will happen, and at the end, the mother won't be in position. Miscarriage will happen on the way. So those are the kind of things we need to work upon, and we make our roads safe. And emergencies, you know, we have a lot of emergencies whereby we referred from here, maybe you are going to the other side. If the road is impassable, what would you do? That is something not good, for sure. Thank you.
That is one thing. If you look at the communication earlier I had with the public relations officer, that is Uganda National Roads Authority, he actually explained to me that they actually use 2 trillion Ugandan shillings to do road maintenance every quarter. every quarter.
What
Now
is
talk about every financial year, how much do they use? Now you can calculate that.
But
every quarter, if it is 3 trillion, now times 3, actually times 4.
That is a lot of money.
That's a very big money going. How much do you think the country can use to at least change the face of all the highways that we have in this country? We have so many of them that lead to each border district.
If I may say, the types or the works being done on the roads, they are not to that standard. They are more of a substandard works, because we are seeing the roads being maintained almost every time, but they're not lasting like the real natural tarmacking of the roads. They will work on this road within some months. It is down, and you have
sometimes the slab that is put for
it is already better than the main highway. That's why that is the Minister for Transport and Works, General Katumba, came out and first stopping posing works on the roads. Why? Because of the rainfall. And I was asking myself, if this thing called rainfall can make a whole of a country like Uganda
to stop
road works, will the accident also wait for the rain to first go off? Automatically, no.
Now, what if these rains continue up to June next year? What happens?
He has declared, let the district officials first put a hold on the road works. So, meaning by the time they are getting to work on the roads, they're in more deteriorating states, and it will cost more. And it will cost more money, that is to the country, and that will lead to losses of income for the country, which was supposed to be put into other uses.
Okay, the implication of not making the actual rehabilitating or maybe tarmacking roads is very, very grave. That we may talk about the 6 persons that are under referral, and then talk about the mothers who need really antenatal services or that are being referred for further management. Those are things that we may really need to talk about. But okay. In the views of the chairman, it's good for family planning for the men, but to the contrary, to the women, it's not really providing that justice. We will move away from Uganda and and look at other issues that are happening elsewhere. Talk about Australia, where there is already a ban on smoking of cigarettes and also other substances that contain nicotine. And research has been done by Australia Cancer Institute that has said actually 9 out of 10 young children, okay, children between the ages of 10 to 14 can be found smoking, okay?
9 out of
10. That means there's one who is actually smoking passively, who has not been caught live having the stick. So that is one thing, and also other substances that have been smoked in the country are also being really said not to be allowed in the country, and this will take effect from tomorrow. By the way, that law is going to take effect tomorrow.
That's a good one.
It was derived just 3 days back. By tomorrow, it is
it's taking effect. That is so good.
It's not like the one of Uganda where it takes months for the president to peruse to.
They give grace period.
People, even the sellers of the tobacco want to run to the president to bargain. Please don't sign. Don't sign. They first go and you see, it is brought back to parliament. Go and amend the other side.
No, that's our country,
so
Uganda.
For them, it is just like a 3 days event. Parliament has approved it. It goes to the president.
Yeah, because now,
and then things work out.
Because if you look at the age, or the age that is of people consuming it between 10 to 14, that is automatically the future of the country. Yeah. And we all know people always get spoiled from that age up to around 20. So by the time someone is reaching 15 years or 20 years, the impact of tobacco will be so much, and probably within the few years, if that trend was to continue, you'll find more than 90% of the population are having cancer. We know these generations, we are under transition. This generation first goes, then these other ones, the generations keep on coming. If the first one went through successfully, meaning these young ones of 10, 14, by the time they are reaching adulthood,
20 or even, even some of them may not reach 20, they will start having those complications.
So the impact will be felt in the future. Most of them will become the leaders. And if someone is used to smoking, can a president or head of state stop people from doing what he cherished more. That is one thing, and it is a good one. Coming up with that law,
yes.
it will help to save the future, that is of the country
For
Australia.
sure, I appreciate the way the law was handled. Just in 4 days, it is coming to effect. That is very, very good. And I think many countries need to pick a leaf from that. And it's a good one for the health sector and also the leadership of the country.
It shows seriousness.
To save the population. If really 1% of the people who are in the country is not smoking, 1%.
Only 1%. But by the way, that thing is so serious.
And that statistics did not spare women, children, and also husbands.
But you know the reason as to why the major focus is on children, because those are the future of the country. Now, if they are to extend it, if they are to move it widely to the aged, that is to the elders, you find now it is almost 90 plus. It is something so bad, and I like the way they have come out to react openly and very fast. That is to the law, not like some other countries who will need decades to come out with their laws. So that is one good thing with the country Australia.
Yeah, that is Australia. Let's move away from there. We are turning our eyes to the Israel-Palestinian war. That is still there, but I don't know what has happened with Ukraine and where people were talking about petrol prices going high because the war was there. Even buying food, cassava flour was becoming too expensive for somebody to afford here. But what is happening there is that more aid has been extended. Already 50 trucks entered last evening, yesterday. So this morning, aid is already there. Food is coming, Bamba harvest. Okay, many people have been rescued there, but also the Israelites. Okay, the abductees who were taken off have been 10 of them have been released to the Israeli government. Okay, the Israeli government. So people are being, in that sense, those from the other side are actually crossing to Palestine, and then those from Palestine are actually crossing to Israel. That's one good sign of peace. But also, Israel has said, once you give 10 of them, we are going to give you 1 day off without war. So that is another good thing. We hope that that can easily make someone to understand that maybe there's a mutual understanding, that they're feeling that also what they're doing, maybe the Israelites are doing, is also harming them on the other way around. You remember the law of where energy. You see, once you have injected a lot of energy force, the other side, the opposite side also faces the same, and that's so you're applying. So maybe physics, yes, action and reaction, Yes, the issues of aid has not been really so much featuring because many people have been dying of hunger. A lot has been happening there, but we have seen aid support has already been extended there. That's a plus that I think we can really say thank you to the foreign bodies and also the international community. We show Uganda voting that yes, we need to extend aid. That's a plus.
Maybe something which, based on my understanding, the country Uganda is also extending its aid to the other country. But also Uganda needs aid to be extended, or help to be extended to the people within, that is the country Uganda. But if you look critically, how many major sources of aid are there? How many people are giving support? Most of these things bends down, that is to the World Food Program. They are the ones who are supposed to facilitate all these things of giving food, the aids, and maybe health-wise, it is the World Health Organization. But probably if people can come to a mutual understanding, we first settle things down. But one thing which is also beating my understanding, the Prime Minister Netanyahu, that is of Israel, says for them, people should not question why they're imprisoning people. No matter the age, whether you are 1 month, whether you are 5 years, they'll put you in jail until they fulfill their missions, of which up to now, he has already declared the missions as to why they're fighting that. That is one bad thing, which is highly affecting the population. That is, children suffering more.
But if you talk about the aid, why Uganda is extending aid when there are vulnerable people in the northern region, you will talk about the issues, the beauty of the organizations. Talk about the AU, the African Union, where you have to put subscription. When those subscriptions are put, part of these monies are used to help in supporting other countries that are in dire need of support. You understand that? It's not that Uganda has to pull maybe that I have the energy, I have cassava, let me take it. It's not like that.
But I hope...
And once Uganda has some challenges, you remember during COVID, who were those countries that were giving us aid? You saw India here, you saw these others here. But that's the mutual way we can always collaborate. Maybe let me have your final words on the discussions because we are time bad. Dear viewer, we have maybe a few seconds to go out. Yes.
Thank you. It has been fun. It has been a pleasure. It has been so interactive. That is once again appearing in the on the Kokoliriko show live. West Nile TV, we are discussed a lot, that is ranging from local up to international. But most of these things, we have been talking about security, and that is creating a good connection or a good rapport with your neighbors. Let's try to emulate some of these things so that we don't fight our neighbors, we don't fight our relatives, we don't fight our in-laws. And all these things are channeled to security. Once you are secured, things will come out openly and in the right way that we feel like. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for also making it here, and this is your second time with me. I appreciate it very, very much, and I hope that you'll be able to also do the same in the subsequent days to come, or anytime when there's an emergency and I call you that, hey, let's come and chat here. We should be able to really deliver it. I know the people who can make good use of some of these stories are the people in the newsroom who understand a lot with things to do with the stories that are happening, delivering a lot of facts, and we appreciate that you have been actually paying attention to the show, and those of you who have been watching the show from the start, we appreciate your time, and also those who have not watched, you'll be able to get the YouTube version there. You can watch it at your own convenient time, and let's keep it there. But behind the camera, we have Dijon Pro, but also in the studios or at the background, in the production, we have producer Aldo, who is there from Alderline Studios. Okay, he has a lot of things to do with that studios and so on. That is his private work. You can engage him at any time and do a lot of recordings there. But also up next, we'll be having the news in Lubarati that will be brought to you by Fete Emmanuel. But also we have Muklia Lawrence behind the editings and so on. And my name is Federick Dramadri. I'm out of the studios. Thank you. We'll meet again tomorrow.